That's so that we can meeting is being recorded so that we can do the minutes of the meeting and report on that at our next meeting. All right. So I think that's back in sync. Let's continue with our icebreaker. Maing Bongwe has said she feels happy. Michael says he loves giving back. Yakub says yes, not the only one. I suspect that's for the comment about being useful, Yakub. Keisha says purpose driven. Purpose driven. That's really deep, Keisha. Thank you for your contribution there. Oteng says fulfilled. Joseph says gratifying. Wow. Yes, feel like you're doing something great. Excellent, excellent. And Angel says resourceful. Ah, Tavorna says valued. For myself, inspired is a word that comes to mind. Encouraged is a word that comes to mind as well. So thank you so very much for participating in our icebreaker and for really sharing your heart and your how you are engaging with different causes, how it is for you to volunteer. And it's always good for us to think outside of ourselves. It helps to put things in perspective. Sometimes when we're in our own worlds and dealing with our own difficulties, we make a bigger deal of the challenges that we're faced with. But when you go out, you do a project for persons who are disabled, for persons who are homeless, for children who are experiencing food poverty or their families experiencing food poverty, it really helps to put things in perspective and makes you think, okay, maybe my challenge isn't quite as great as I had once pegged it out to be. So yes, I'll turn then to our presentation on what is Kiwanis. I know for a lot of you, I've given you a brief synopsis to say it's a volunteer organization, but what is it really all about? Let's dive into that with the presentation. And okay, Ocheng, I don't know if you can assist me in just admitting some persons. I've just added you as co-host, so I've got a few notifications of persons
Yeah, I've
joining.
done that already.
Really appreciate the help. All right, so I'm going to share. Let's just see if this works. I think I'll go with the entire screen and then I'll bring up the PowerPoint. So, sure, this is, let's go with slide one. Yes, can I have a verbal confirmation that the slide is showing and we're good to go?
Yes.
Yes, okay, wonderful. So, let's jump to our first slide. What is Kiwanis? That is a big question that's probably on a lot of your minds. Simple sentence: Kiwanis is an organization of volunteers giving our time and effort to assist children and families in need. Very important to point out the fact that we are volunteers. Even at the international level, the Kiwanis president, the trustees, the lieutenant governors, the district governors, club presidents, everybody are volunteers. And what that means is people are doing their day to day work, they're running their businesses if they're business owners, and then they're carving time out of their schedule to volunteer as a part of Kiwanis. Kiwanis has been around for over 100 years. We have upwards of 500,000 members, 7,000 clubs, and over 80 countries across the world. Kiwanis is the focus is always children, children and their families, children in schools, children in our communities. And from the pictures, you can see Kiwanis has been involved in building libraries, doing toy drives, sewing blankets, doing back to school care packages. So, those are some examples of projects that Kiwanians have been involved in across the world. There are also several opportunities to network with other individuals in Kiwanis clubs, both in the UK, in Europe, and in Kiwanis at large. There are opportunities for growth, leadership growth, um, and opportunities to travel. So I've included a few flyers here. You've got the European Young Summit. This was held in Lisbon, Portugal earlier this year. And for each year, the locations will change. A different club or city will host the events. There's the European Convention that was held in Iceland, 16th to the 18th of May. Next year, we know it's going to be held in Italy. Once the date and information is finalized, I will be sure to share it with you all. This coming June, the 25th to the 28th, we have our Kiwanis Convention. That's an international convention being held in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the US. And of course, in August, we have our Kiwanis Convention that's being held in London, one of the hotels in London. For any of these events, if it is you may need a letter of endorsement in order to do visa applications, that's also something that Kiwanis will be willing to support. This next slide is really a good visual representation of what the Kiwanis structure is. I'm sure you can appreciate and understand it may be a bit more complex, but this just gives a nice visual. So we've got the club, which is one cube in a bigger cube. Then we've got the nation, such as the United Kingdom, and that's several clubs making up that nation. Then we have Europe, which are several nations and districts that form part of Europe. And then we have the bigger whole, the main cube, which is Kiwanis International, all the clubs in all of the 80 countries across the world. Taking a look then at Kiwanis UK, which is where we are based, we have 7 clubs island wide and a number of satellite clubs. You can see the 7 clubs listed: Stamford District, London South South East, London Borough of Bromley, Brixton South London, Young Professionals United Kingdom, Croydon, Rockingham Forest, and Kiwanis Club of Young Professional Manchester will add to that count by being the 8th club. Importantly, Kiwanis Club of Young Professional Manchester will be the first club in Manchester, so that's quite historic. And for those of you joining as members of this club, you are essentially going to be founding members of this club in Kiwanis Manchester. So I hope you are as excited as I am to get stuck in and ready to serve in our community here in Manchester. Looking at some projects that Kiwanis UK has been engaged in, they are wide ranging. So, clubs have hosted youth camps. The Dolls project is essentially a signature project for Kiwanis UK. These dolls are specific to hospitals, the neonatal departments of the hospitals. They are very soft plush toys that are distributed to the little babies in the hospital. We also have leadership sessions that are hosted, bonfire nights, soup kitchen events, charity runs, and other charity events. You see the raft racing here. And to add to that, we've hosted floats, we've hosted parades, charity balls. You can see the masquerade ball and different care packages. This particular picture is from a Christmas care package distribution. So I'll pause here for a moment and invite some persons to share with us a little bit about their Kiwanis journey. And one of the persons I can see currently online, I'll start with Ocheng. Yes, Ocheng is our Young Professionals UK president. She's currently the nation secretary for Kiwanis UK. She's a past coordinator for Kiwanis UK as well. She has chaired several committees across Europe, including the Kiwanis Europe Federation, the Marketing Communications Committee, She's been a part of the newsletter committee as well. And so I'll turn over to Ocheng Bloomfield to share her experience as a Kiwanian. Over to you, Ocheng. I think you are still on mute. Still muted, yes.
Yeah, my apologies. Yeah, thank you so much, Ramona, and good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you to explore the exciting journey of launching Kiwanis Young Professionals Manchester. And my aim tonight is just to share a little about my own Kiwani story, how it started, why it started, and what it's given me, because I truly believe that at the begin, if you're at the beginning of a transformative process in your life. So my journey began as a teenager in Jamaica. When a teacher, and she's actually in this meeting at the moment, a teacher and a few classmates encouraged me to attend a key club meeting, and this was 20 something years ago, 26 years ago, and I came from a sheltered background. My mom didn't allow me to do anything outside of going to school and home church, and also I attended an all girls school. So the idea of meeting others, especially boys, was very exciting for me. But what really hooked me was atmosphere. The first meeting wasn't just about volunteering. It was about a sense of connection, belonging, and purpose. And I jumped in and I've never looked back. From those early Key Club days, I found a second family, the Kiwanis family, through the projects that made a difference. I discovered my voice and developed my leadership skills, lifelong friendships, and found opportunities to travel, to grow, and just explore. And, speaking of lifelong friends, one of them as well is also on this call. And one of the very first persons I met in P Club was Richardo. And, a friend from those early days who many years later, over 20 years later, is now my husband. So this just shows how, one thing can spark a whole difference in your life. Kiwanis didn't just shape my leadership journey, it brought me to love, family, a partner who shares my passion for service, which is key for me. And also, as I said, that teacher is in the room, Yvonne. She's still a part of my life and is actually a member of the Young Professionals UK as well. And she still checks on me, encourages me, and she's like my mom. I have many moms. She's one of them. And over the years, I've had the honor of just serving on across Kiwanis and in various different roles. As Ramona mentioned, I am the president of Kiwanis Young Professionals UK. I was actually the founding president of the club. And this year we will turn 10 years old. And I've sat on various boards and club committees as well. Today I serve as a Kiwanis UK secretary and finance trustee. And each role has taught me something new, and each has deepened my commitment to service and commitment to the organization. And what I've learned above all these is that Kiwanis gives back more than you give it. Just from the friendships that you develop, the traveling, the exploring, the skills that you learn along the way. So yes, you serve, but in doing so, you become part of something bigger than yourself. You gain skills, project management, public speaking, budgeting, whatever it is that you're interested in. Chances are you'll find it in Kiwanis. You meet people from all walks of life. You discover your power to lead and your capacity to care. So if you're considering building Kiwanis Young Professionals Manchester, know that you're not just forming a club, you're creating a community, one that uplifts children, inspires leaders, and encourages every member to shine in their own way. So, if you're going to join us, your story is just beginning, and I can't wait to see what it leads to. Thank you and welcome to the Kiwanis family.
Thank you so much, President O Cheng. That is awesome and very inspiring testimonial that you've shared. We also have joining us the Eastern Canada and Caribbean Governor elect, Miss Cynthia Blackman. Cynthia has been a Kiwanian for over 24 years. She served as the Lieutenant Governor for Division 27 Caribbean in the year 2020-2021. That's right in the middle of COVID. She is currently a member of the Kiwanis International Global Membership Committee, and so I will invite Cynthia Blackman to share with us her experience as a Kiwanian. Welcome, welcome, and over to you, Cynthia.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Ramona. I'm sorry that I wasn't here from the beginning with you, but I'm glad that I have this opportunity to be here and to share with you. When I was given the opportunity, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Yes, 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 I want to be here. As you heard, I am presently serving as the governor-elect of the Eastern Canada and the Caribbean District. Actually, I'm getting ready to travel tomorrow to Canada, Niagara Falls, to be for our district convention, at which point I will be installed as our governor. And I'll be the second person from Barbados to actually serve as the governor of the Eastern Canada and the Caribbean district. So, yes, I am overly excited. I've been a Kiwanian for 25 years, literally half of my life. And I'll say to you that I've made the best decision to do that. I was introduced to Kiwanis through my husband, and I will want to say that we're a service family because he's a Kiwanian, I am a Kiwanian, and my son, who's 17 years old, he joined Kiwanis not from very young. He didn't go through Key Club and KKs, but he didn't go through KKs and builders. He actually joined maybe about 3 years ago after he had the opportunity to accompany me to one of our district conventions, and he saw what a beautiful atmosphere it was. He got an opportunity to meet um, key clubbers from across Canada. And he came back home and he said to me, Mommy, I want to join Key Club as well. And I'm so proud of him because today he's actually the district secretary treasurer of the Caribbean Atlantic District and will be accompanying me tomorrow and will have the honor of introducing me as his mom and as the governor-elect to the Kiwanians there at our convention. We expect to have just about 670 Kiwanians from across Eastern Canada and the entire Caribbean there. And again, as I said, I think I made the best decision. So how have I grown as a result of Kiwanis? Very shy young lady, very shy, would never be doing what I'm doing here right now. Never ever did I think I would be here speaking to a group of people. And through Kiwanis, I actually found my voice. Um, I was given opportunities to learn and to develop. And in Kiwanis, we have a program called Kiwanis Amplify, where it is not just about Kiwanis development, but it's a full leadership program where you learn about marketing, you learn about self-care, you learn about diversity, equity, and inclusion, communication, leadership, all those things. And I'll say to you, I served as Lieutenant Governor in 2020, 2021. I like to say I'm a COVID LG. And as a result of doing this program back in 2020, 2021, I think that I became a better leader. And I saw that being reflected in my work. I lead a team of about 23 people across the Eastern Caribbean, and I found that I grew as a leader. I was able to lead by influence a lot more, and I got that through the program with Kiwanis International, the Kiwanis Amplify program. I also had the opportunity to make great friendships. Not sure who's on this call from last time, but I told a story where my mom died 16 years ago, and I was in Kiwanis at that time for just about 8 years. And when the members of the club heard that my mom had passed, one member, she turned up at our home with a pot of food, and every single day until the funeral service, she turned up with a pot of food for my family and I. And I didn't know her like that. She was just a Kiwanian in the club with me, right? Today, she's my best friend. I didn't ask her, and I didn't ask her to do it, and at the end of it, when I asked her, "Well, how much do I have for you?" She was like, "Get away from me. That's not how we operate. We are a family, right?" So in Kiwanis, you also get to have what I call lifelong friendships. Again, another story. I love to tell stories. When my mom died, one of the members in the club, she said to me, "Don't worry." My son was 6 months at the time, and she said, "Don't worry, we're going to take care of you." And I can tell you, for the first maybe 5, 6 years of my son's life, that Kawania Merlin, she assisted in taking care of my son. I had to go anywhere, she and her family, they would take care of my son. I didn't know these people before I joined Kiwanis, but I can tell you that they hold a very special place in my heart. So I want to say, like, Kiwanis for me is one of the best things that happen. I also have the opportunity and the privilege to work with young people. And again, not sure who's here from last meeting, but I told you about the young lady that she was in Key Club. So she was maybe about 11 years old at that time. And I was coaching and mentoring them as Key Clubbers, right? Now she's a big woman with a big son, 7, 8 years old. And she's saying to me, "Kid Cynthia, you remember when you told me this in Key Club? And you remember when we did this?" And I'm looking at how she has grown as a leader within her own space. So the fact that I have the opportunity to influence young minds, and I said to someone recently, one day when we Kiwanis, we are turning out one of the world leaders, we're all going to sit back and say, "Wow, look at Kiwanis, we did that," right? Because we have the opportunity to influence these young minds, develop those leadership skills, and get them committed to making the world a better place. I wouldn't have it any other way. I absolutely would not have it any other way. I mean, when I'm out there right now, I participate in a program for the last 4 years. I wake up every single morning and I make breakfast for a group of children at a primary school who their parents don't have the ability to provide breakfast for them. I do that. I met them through Kiwanis, but I personally undertake that task, right? And when at the end of the term, and you have a group of children going out, and they will sing a song like, "Thank you for the food to cover my tummy," and they're singing and they're dancing. You feel good to know you're doing something that is great. I couldn't walk off the street and go into a primary school on my own and just be able to do something like that. Kiwanis provided me with that opportunity to be able to go there and help them work with the school and make life better for them. So I just want to say to you that you definitely should consider becoming a Kiwanian. It is one of the best decisions that you will make in your life. You will have an opportunity to travel the world. Again, storytelling. There's a lady from our club. She's very short, and I remember when she went to Kiwanis International Convention in Japan, when she came back, her favorite thing was like, "Guess what? I was the tallest person in Japan," right? So we get the opportunity to travel all over. And next year, our Kiwanis International Convention is in the Philippines. So again, looking forward to traveling there and meeting Kiwanians. From that side of the world who don't oftentimes get to come to our Kiwanis International Convention, which is going to be in Pittsburgh this year. So I just want to say, you're going to make the right decision to become a Kiwanian. You will not regret it. Years from now, you will be looking back and thinking, "Wow, look at how I've grown. Look at how I've influenced the community. Look at how, because of me, I was able to go into a community and make life better for a family or for an entire community." The opportunity to give them books, to get the children reading. Like the internal satisfaction is so great that once you've made the decision, I am telling you, you absolutely will not regret it. As I said, you made beautiful friendships. I have friends in Antigua. I've never known them before. When they have to get something done in Barbados, they will send their children to Barbados. They don't have to travel here. They will send them because they know that the Kiwanians here will take good care of their children. So you will build beautiful friendships, not only within this group, but you will also build beautiful friendships with people within the community that you will get to engage with just because you're a member of Kiwanis. So I like to say you give a lot in Kiwanis, but you also get a lot out of it as well. For those young business people, you will have an opportunity to network. Remember that Kiwanis is an international organization. So you will get to meet people from across the world and network with them. Opportunity for you to grow your business. Again, storytelling. I told a story last time. There's a young lady in my club. I think she's the best pastry chef ever. And so when she came into our club and she told us about her business, we support her business in everything that we do. But not only that, within my workplace, every time I have an event, I'm getting her to cater for that event. Now, last year at our district convention, I was telling a story and I was talking about Shari and how good a chef she was. And one of the young ladies from Bahamas, she was at that session and she heard the discussion. Now, she wanted to send a birthday token for a Kiwanian in Barbados. And because she remembered that story, she went online, found Shari's business, and she was able to do business with Shari, right? So again, an opportunity for you to also promote your business and build your business. So I want to encourage you, make the decision. You wouldn't regret it. Join Kiwanis. Make the world a better place. Make your community a better place. Build friendships, network, impact lives, build KKs, key clubs, Circle Ks at the colleges and universities. Go out there and impact those young minds, help to shape those young minds. And 5 years from now, or I don't know if I could say 25 years from now, because at 25 years from now, I'll probably be like 75, 76 years old. I may not be able to come online, but 10, 15 years from now, I want to hear about your story and how you are impacting your own communities. So make that decision and join Kiwanis. So thank you very much, Ramona, for having me.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so very much, Cynthia. That was truly inspiring. And thank you for the stories as well. It keeps us engaged. Really greatly appreciated.
Yes,
I also
you're
note that
welcome.
we have Mike Williams joining us, Kiwanis UK membership coordinator. I do want to put you a bit on the spot if you don't mind. What I'll do is I'll take a moment to share a bit about my experience, Mike, and then when I'm through, I'll hand over to you and ask you to just tell us a little bit about your Kiwanis journey. Okay, so I'm quite young and still yet have been in Kiwanis for a good number of years. I started out in Builders Club whilst I was in primary school, so that was at 12 years old. From there, I went on to high school and joined Key Club. So both Builders Club and Key Club are service leadership extensions of Kiwanis International. The focus is on building the leadership skills in children in schools, and so we have these organized clubs in both primary school, high school, and university. When I went on to university doing my postgraduate studies, I then joined Kiwanis International, the main Kiwanis club, and I was a part of Kiwanis Club Young Professionals Kingston in Jamaica. As a part of these various clubs over the years, I've been involved in several projects. We've been to children's homes, we've been to mental health institutions, we have built schools, we have done year long literacy programs. That's one of the programs that's dearest to my heart. We assisted a group of children, about 30 children, who were not reading at their grade level. but they were due to sit the national exams to go on to high school. And we brought them from struggling to read simple words like cat, rat, book, school, to doing full sentences, writing stories, and sitting their exams. So that one is near and dear to my heart. We've built playgrounds. You've seen in the video I played at the outset, there were some children on playgrounds. That's an iconic sort of initiative for Kiwanis International, building playgrounds in schools and communities across the world. I've participated in health fairs, massive health fairs. I mean, 800 to 900 people from the community coming out, getting their eyes checked, getting their teeth checked, doing blood pressure checks, visiting nurses, visiting doctors, people who were either not bold enough or just didn't have the finances to go and speak to a medical professional. We've done back to school fairs. That again was huge. 900 to 1,000 students. We distributed backpacks. We gave them water bottles and lunch kits. We gave them writing books, pens and pencils to get them started for school on day one. We've done blood drives. That's a signature project that's being launched in Jamaica, island wide, just encouraging different parishes to host their own unique blood drives. We visited the homes for elderly. You'd be surprised how many stories you get from elderly persons, experiences that they've shared with us. They've also shared some of their regrets. We sit and play games with them. We'll cook food and eat with them. And just sometimes service is being present. It's not about giving money all the time or giving them something, but just being present and spending 1 hour, 2 hours with them. Some of the homes that we visited, we've helped them wash their hair, clip their nails, change their sheets, scrub their floors, change the curtains, that sort of thing. So it can be just you being present and physically doing things in their space to make it feel lighter and more refreshing for them. We've done soup kitchens, we've donated hospital equipment, that was a major one. There were a few hospitals in the rural parts of Jamaica that did not have the little incubators for premature babies, and we were able to donate some of those equipment to the hospitals there. So there have been so many projects over the years, each of which have been truly rewarding and impactful in their own way. And here in Kiwanis, Manchester, I'm hoping that we can find ways, carve niche projects that can impact our communities and benefit our children. So that's been my experience. Started when I was 12, I'm now in my 30s and still very much motivated and encouraged. I've served in several leadership positions as well over the years, not only in my club but at the district and divisional level. When I moved to UK in 2020, I was still volunteering with Kiwanis in Jamaica as a PR and marketing chairperson, and we've done great work in getting projects published in print media, sensitizing the public about the work that Kiwanis was doing and has been doing. So there's leadership opportunities, lots of opportunities to travel. I've been to Jamaica. Well, I'm from Jamaica. I've been to St. Lucia and Barbados, Trinidad, Canada, the United States, and now here in the UK. So lots of opportunities to travel and network as well. You'll be surprised the friends you make. We've heard testimonials of people meeting their partners in Kiwanis. So that is absolutely amazing. That's been my experience. Mike, if you are willing to unmute, please do give us a quick few sentences of what your journey has been like and what your experience in Kiwanis is like.
Yeah, good evening, everyone, and congratulations with for Young Professional of Manchester. It's actually brilliant. It's great to see and hear. My coming to my journey. My journey, well, I've been with the Kiwanis for about 6 years now, and that journey's been it's been quite a good one because I guess it's echoing most of what has been said so far. It's with meeting other people that sort of are like-minded as yourselves, and sort of building relationships, and where we all have a common goal. And it's nice to be in a family, and I'll put it as a family, that has that one common goal, that we are there to to be impactful to the children within our community. And I was just reflecting back on what Cynthia said about sort of about the going into the school, because with the club that I'm with, we've just finished a project refurbishing a nursery school, because that school was, it was up in their garden, and the garden was, you know, unsafe for those kids to be playing around, and when we noticed it, and we said we need to do something about this. So we got in contact with the principals, and said, so what can we do to help? And so all different ideas came from the members, and also from the nursery teachers as well. And we all got together, and now the school is sort of bright, cheerful. And when I went last week to that school, you can see the kids that they were now playing around in the garden, sort of with digging plants and learning various different things within that garden. So for me, that's why I came into Kiwanis, to see and do, and that just encompasses everything. So I in my heart, I know that, and as I've shown you in the chat, is that giving back, and that giving back is now, I feel rewarded from that. But the children also is reaping for that as well. And also I'm building a family, and building out as much as possible. So that's my journey, and being sort of part of the membership is trying to to get people to understand the journeys that I've been hearing so far, and for us to let people know that all this is possible, and they can give as much or little time they have in their lives. But when we do so the ultimate project, then they will see what we've been talking about, and it's not something that's a myth or whatever. It's something that's felt. Yeah. So that's my journey, as it were.
Yes. Wow.
Wonderful.
Thank you so very much, Michael. I know it was last minute to call on you like this, but I really do appreciate you
You're
sharing
welcome.
your journey as well, and inspiring us all to aspire to be part of something really, really transformative and inspirational. All right. So I'm going to go back to our slide. We do have a few more points for discussion, and I will also be inviting you to participate in the discussion. Let's see if we can get this done right. All right. So, what then is the vision for Kiwanis in Manchester? We know the mission is serving children in whatever way we can. And so it's for us as new members to the club to then define what that service will look like, what that service will entail, and what projects we will undertake. There are some projects that we can implement quite easily and readily, and there are some projects that will require some planning, some weeks of planning to then implement. So, a health fair, for example, might require weeks of planning, or a back to school drive might require some weeks of planning. So, that's what I'd like for us to start to think about. What can we, as club members of this Young Professionals, Kiwanis Manchester, what impact can we have in our communities, and what causes do we want to undertake? Kiwanis makes kids' lives better. What is possible with your help? That's what I'd like for us to start thinking on and engaging in. And so we're coming into our ideas and community needs discussion. I'd love to have a quick brainstorming session with you, a few minutes, 10, 15 minutes. Share with us a bit about causes you care about, projects you've done that you'd like to see our club lead on as young professionals Manchester, and what you think children in Manchester need. So I'm going to pause the presentation there. And this is an opportunity for us to engage. So Fatima, let's see, Winnie, Stephen, anybody who is currently online, Pewing, Keisha, Patrick, any thoughts? Unmute, turn your video on if you would like, and share with me what you think we could do as a club, what sort of impact we could have here in Manchester. The floor is open. Let's see.
Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, I can absolutely. Go ahead,
Okay.
Fatima.
I think one of the things that I'd like to help out on would be going into schools or
Mhm,
in areas which are perhaps underprivileged,
mhm,
and sort of undertaking sessions there. I mean, sometimes, it's things that you perhaps don't learn in schools, such as managing your finances or
mhm.
um, helping A-level students with UCAS applications. We can, obviously think more about the topics, but I think it should be aimed at perhaps those that don't have the support that some other individuals might have across the country.
Yes, I'm loving that idea. So essentially a sort of mentorship program that's
Yeah,
catering to
yeah,
underprivileged students who might not have the benefit of certain advice or wouldn't know about opportunities that they can apply to for funding or for support. Yes, I do like that idea. I've got Yakub commenting in the chat. I believe that social mobility is a great direction in the UK at the moment, improving access to professional apprenticeships. All right. So, professional apprenticeships. Excellent idea. And I'm just making a note so that we can have a little bank of ideas for future meetings to determine what to work on and where to move, when to move on each suggested idea. All right. Any other ideas?
Yeah, I really like that
Yes.
idea, Fatima, and perhaps things like self-care, teaching self-care skills and how
Mm,
important it is to look after our mental health.
yes.
And yeah, I think that falls by the wayside sometimes.
Mhm.
So it'd be nice to do sessions on that.
Yes. So some self-care and mental health sessions. I love this idea. It throws me back to a project we did in Jamaica. We went to a girls' home for young teenagers who fallen pregnant and were essentially evicted from their family homes, and so they're being cared for in this home. We went there and did a lovely self-care session with them, just teaching them about hygiene, their hair, their nails, their body, that sort of thing. And it was truly impactful. They were very, very grateful. Because really, when you don't have your mom there and you just have 20, 30 young women being told by the nurses, do this, do that, nobody is really coming in with the love and the care to say, this is how you take care of yourself and make sure your physical health is intact, your mental health is intact, and you're feeling encouraged despite the challenges with being a mom at a young age. So that's a really, really good idea, Emily. Thank you for that suggestion. Anybody else? Any other thoughts? How can we impact children in Manchester? Are there any other projects you think we could undertake? We have a whole year ahead of us. Anything else you think we could consider children. We could think of children from the neonatal stage. We can think of children in basic school, kindergarten stage, pre-K stage. We can think of children in the primary school level, high school, and slash university level. Anybody else who would like to add their thoughts? Let me see who
So
else is on the
Ramona, as
call.
an outsider,
Yes, Cynthia.
I know I'm not in Manchester, but um, one of the projects that we do in my home club is a project called Everyone is Able.
Mm-hmm.
And if you had the opportunity to visit the Kiwanis International social media pages recently, I think this week, it was actually featured there. And this is a program where we identify children within the community with disabilities,
Mm-hmm.
and we actually pair them with children that do not have disabilities, and they have a day of activities and they work together. But the child without the disabilities can't perform the actions on behalf of the child with the disabilities. You have to work together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things what we found, this is me, is that it the awareness and the acceptance of a child with a disability. So it's no longer you're standing and watching that child without the disability. With the disability, you're actually having an appreciation for what they go through. And
Mm-hmm.
the last exercise we do is that the child without the disability actually have to sit in a wheelchair and have to try to move around the campus without assistance, just like the child with the disability would have to do. And so the awareness I have found that was pretty powerful. And you actually found that the children that were paired, they started to develop a bond. So every year, the same child without the disability wants to go back with the child with disability because they now have a friendship. So
Yes.
maybe something that's focusing on inclusivity, and we actually produce a coloring book which is about again working together, and we've given the coloring book to the children within the schools so as to help them to have a better appreciation for not only children but people with disabilities and how to be respectful of them and how to support them. So just
Yes.
thought I'll share that with you.
Excellent idea. I like the concept of inclusivity and incorporating that shared experience for not only
Hmm.
the able bodied individuals but also those who are disabled. And it really does help to open your mind to think uh,
Hmm.
this is what the difficulty is when there's no ramp. This is how hard it is to get up, even a simple 1 or 2 inches if there's a difference in height on the pavement. So, yes,
Hmm.
excellent, excellent suggestion. And thank you so very much for that suggestion, Cynthia. I'm just checking in the chat. I've got another comment. First aid training. Thank you, Shauna. That's a very good idea. First aid training. That's a good idea. It might be first aid training for us as club members, and then we could go into schools and institutions to share that knowledge. Certainly, we know that there are some organizations. I think there's a heart organization and the ambulance trust that also offer a complimentary first aid training. So that's something we can explore, find a branch in Manchester. And as a club, members of a club, we could go and get some first aid training and then see if they have certificates that allow us to
You,
become trainers or at least to simply share our knowledge and experience
you could
with.
also look into mental health first aid training because
Mm,
I've had that training and they do train you to train others as well.
mm. So, mental health first aid training, and that way we can go in and train others. Yes, excellent idea. Thank you so much, Shauna, for that contribution, and Ocheng as well. Dana has dropped a link in the chat. Thank you so much. This is Insights. Okay. into disadvantaged neighborhoods, particularly in Greater Manchester. We'll have to take a look at that link. We also have a child poverty link that's been shared. Yes, so child poverty, we're probably thinking along the lines of some food drives that we can donate to food banks, for example. That would be something to tackle child poverty
I was
in our
wondering whether,
community.
because a lot of these projects, they're big long-term projects. You're saying there's some more short-term things, there's some more long-term things. As
Yes,
a short-term thing, as a new club, if we could, I don't know, fundraise and organize something where we could meet and do, I don't know, a walk or a run or something that could just kick off and would allow members to meet
yeah.
to fundraise for maybe some of the points raised by Dana in the chat. That could be good.
Yes, excellent idea. We could possibly even tie it with one of the runs that are operating in Manchester. I know we had the Great Manchester Run recently, and a lot of those persons were running for a charity, and they essentially asked persons that they know to donate towards the charity, and then they ran the 10K or the half marathon. Um, so that's, yes, excellent idea. Fundraising walk, a fundraising run, and it would give us a great opportunity to meet in person. So, loving that idea. Let me just double check what else we have in the chat. It could help in every way because you may never know what each person's circumstances are. I agree with you there, Shauna.
I mean, just
Keisha,
on the
yes, go
sorry,
ahead, please.
just on the back of what Emily said, something like baking. I mean, I'm not the best baker myself, but I'm sure there's people on
Yeah,
this chat who are, and doing something like that as well, like having like a I don't know, like a quarterly meetup session, meetup
yes.
for us as a team, but then
Hmm.
sort of doing something as well that could work out
Yes.
as well.
So not just the projects, but social activities.
Yeah, yeah,
I've seen a few advertisements online for like pottery, first timers doing pottery or painting or baking as well that you've mentioned. So
yeah.
that's, yes, that's an excellent idea. So quarterly meetup in person, doing some sort of activity of interest, such as the baking. Excellent idea. And I was just checking what Keisha wrote in the chat: emotional intelligence and conflict resolution. Yes, we could do sessions on that. That could even be a webinar. That could be a webinar. Emotional intelligence, emotional intelligence and conflict resolution. And is that something you're um, have any training in, Keisha, or would we need to reach out to someone to ask them to come as a presenter, do you think? Any thoughts on that?
We
Do you
would,
want
we
to?
would, we would have to reach out to someone. The reason
Someone.
why the idea came across is
Yes.
because I've got a 23-year-old daughter, and
Yes.
watching her going through high school, going through college, and seeing it's just the interaction with her and her friends, and and seeing the impact of that on
Yes.
her mental health and the mental
Mm,
health of her friends. It's
yes.
not something that her age group is very much aware of in terms of how to manage their emotions, how to make their emotions work for them, how
Mm,
to, respect the emotions of others. So that's why the idea came to mind.
yes. Excellent idea. I've taken a note of it. I mean, I'm sure we can find someone to speak on the topic. I recalled joining a webinar for the Employer Employment Lawyers Association, and we had a speaker from something like Care UK, but essentially they mentor individuals who grew up in care homes, and a significant part of their mentorship is the emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, just managing your emotions and how to deal with individuals. So, yes. Dana says, love the idea of mentorship. It goes a long way, especially if those mentors eventually become champions. Yes. So the idea is we learn and grow and we pass on the learning and teaching to others. Richardo said the strength of Kiwanis is that we work with several organizations to achieve these wonderful ideas. Yes, 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 yes. So not because we're a club, a service club in and of ourselves, doesn't mean that we are exclusive of other organizations. We can feed in to the work of other organizations. We can partner with other organizations. So yes, good comment there. Yakub says intersectionality is also very helpful. For example, collaborating with other organizations, also focused on helping children in Manchester and sharing ideas or events improve impact on the local communities. So that ties into what Richardo has just said. Excellent, excellent thought. Then we've got Winnie contributing. Thank you so much, Winnie. We can also work with organizations that support children, like Save Children and Barnados. I'm just going to write that down because we can do a needs assessment with them to see what it is they're working on, what needs they've identified, and how we can feed into supporting that need. Winnie also says volunteer in shelters or safe places. Shelters, safe places for children experiencing homelessness and or abuse. Yes, we could even do a pop-up soup kitchen, for example, or prepare care packages with just food items, a few snacks and drinks for them. Ocheng. Okay, and then Dana. Okay, thank you so much for popping in, Dana. I really appreciate it. Um, And please do drop your email in the chat. You can send me a personal message with your email address so that we can keep connected with emails going forward. And Faziab has given us some wonderful thoughts, community based projects, mentoring at risk youth, looking at the refugee communities. That's something to think about, yes. Refugee communities, collaborating with other UK charities. So, great minds thinking alike there, promoting awareness campaigns. Yes, that would probably tie into PR and marketing type roles, engaging international students and alumni. All right. Thank you so much for your engagement. We've got some wonderful ideas and we can start planning for each of our meetings. We can identify one project that we want to start working on and maybe distribute to different persons who will call the shelter or the home or the school and set dates for execution. All right, so let's get back to our presentation. We're almost there with it. Now that we've done canvassing some ideas and looking at the community needs, I'm sure you're also curious to know about joining or membership. Mhm. Before we touch on joining our membership, I do have two short-term projects that I'd like to propose. The first one is a toy drive. The target date, whoops, for that. The target date for that would be the 12th of June 2025. I've identified the Ashgrove Children's Centre. They currently have a call out on their website for toys, specifically hard toys, so not soft toys like teddy bears, but toy cars and dolls. They can be new toys, they can be used toys, and we would work towards getting some toys together and making a donation to the Ashgrove Children's Centre. That's 3 weeks from now, the 12th of June 2025. So if that's something you're interested in participating in, please do let me know. I'm in Manchester. Few of you are in Manchester. Those of you who are not in Manchester, if you'd like to contribute financially, and then one of us will go and buy the toys to add to the donation, that can also be done. So no fair there. The second option is our a YouTube children's storytime series. That's YouTube has a YouTube for Kids segment, where if you upload a video and mark it as made for kids, it will feature in the suggested videos for kids who are looking for bedtime stories. And so that's a really good idea. It's a project I've been involved in my club in Jamaica. We just set up our phones, take out a storybook. Usually we're catering to kids about 6 years old, 6 or 7 years old, and read a story to them. Common stories like Cinderella, Rapunzel, or maybe historical stories as well. So, those are two ideas. Please, if you are intrigued to participate in either of the two or both, please let me know. We haven't set up a YouTube page as yet, so I would love some support from someone who's willing to get us started with that. We've got a Gmail email address set up, so it's just to create the YouTube page and then upload the videos as they are submitted from you or lovely club members. All right, and so the next thing to think about is, what does it take to become a member? Passion for serving the community. That I believe we all have. Being here on the call, we do have that passion to serve our community, a desire for personal development. We've shared a lot about the different conventions and leadership seminars, sessions that will be hosted. You'll see from the suggestions the opportunities to also stand in that leadership position in training young minds, um, developing the training and then delivering the training, being ready to have fun and to fellowship. That we've already have had some indication from members, from individuals, asking for us to do our quarterly meetup in person or to participate in a walk or a run where everybody gets together and gets to meet in person to have that fun, that fellowship. I love the baking idea. We could rotate that and do some pottery, some painting as well. There's also the annual membership fee. That is if you're interested in having Kiwanis as a CV item, for example. If you'd like to participate more broadly in Kiwanis UK, Kiwanis International, attend our conventions, attend our youth summits. The membership fee is £95. That breaks down to £8 per month. You're essentially giving up 2 cups of coffee or potentially a takeaway meal each month. And it's an annual fee. You pay it once and you are able to benefit from a lot of the seminars, sessions, conventions, and participate in our projects as a member. If it is you'd like to participate in the projects without necessarily joining the membership, that is also an option. As you can see, the £95 involves a contribution to the Kiwanis International Fund, Kiwanis Europe, Kiwanis UK, and our club as well. So I've mentioned that Kiwanis International do a lot of projects in building playgrounds across the world. So that's one of the major projects that the Kiwanis Fund goes towards. There was also an initiative recently eliminating neonatal tetanus in children. That was about 5 years that they spent funding nurses and doctors in countries across Africa and Europe, going around and just offering the tetanus shot to young children and even some adults. And over the period of 5 years to almost 10 years, so let's say a decade, they were able to ultimately eliminate that one disease. There's also Kiwanis Europe. We've highlighted some of the projects like the dolls projects that they're involved in, and Kiwanis UK. I've also mentioned that all the volunteer roles are essentially that, volunteer roles. So when you pay a membership fee, it is a contribution to the fund for projects at the international scale, projects at the Europe scale, and projects at the national level for Kiwanis UK. There'll also be a £7 contribution from that £95 that will go towards projects that the club will undertake. So that is what it takes to become a member. I hope you are as excited as I am to be a part of this club, to be a fee paying member of the club, and to engage with the projects that we will be undertaking in the weeks and months to come. Looking at our club, this here I've put up is just an idea of the vision for Kiwanis, young professionals in Manchester. I'm proposing that we meet on a monthly basis. This would be via Zoom. It could also be in person if we have enough persons voting for an in person meeting. And on that basis, our next meeting would be the 27th of June, that's a Friday, a solid 4 weeks from now. Gives us time to think, gives us time to reflect on the two projects that I've proposed and to see what the implementation has been like, what the involvement has been like from each person present today, and then determine, okay, what projects can we plan going forward? Do we continue with the YouTube reading series, make it a year-long initiative where each month we have different stories being uploaded by different members in our club? Or do we steer in a different direction and pick up one of these ideas that have been proposed today? I'd also love for you to join our WhatsApp group. That's where we'll be able to drop the updates and reminders. Instead of me going to one on one messages with each of you, it would be good to have a WhatsApp group where we can share updates and reminders. And there are opportunities to lead. Like I said, we are launching the club. This is our very, very first meeting. I will be leading using my experience of Kiwanis to guide us. But we do need other volunteers to step up to the plate. We've got the role of the secretary who would assist in um, the minutes of the meeting. Doesn't have to be too detailed, just bullet points and some action items. At the start of each meeting, we reflect on what was discussed and then look at our agenda going forward. The treasurer to assist us with our finances, to see what we have in donations, what letters we can write for sponsorship, and therefore how much we have to fund a project idea. Looking for PR and membership chairpersons. If we are more than one person stepping up for this role, we can split it to have a PR chairperson managing our YouTube or Instagram. Hopefully, we can create a LinkedIn page as well. Membership chairperson would just be reaching out to individuals, much like I reached out to each of you today, inviting you to the meeting, inviting you to be a part of the community impact and serving children in the way that has been described so far. And finally, a projects chairperson, just someone who will keep us on track. It's one thing to plan, it's one thing to set a date, but someone who is following up to make sure that we are, as we get closer to the date, we are achieving the goal and having the impact that we set out to have. The club itself is open to young professionals and young professionals at heart, young individuals at heart. I say that because there isn't really an age limit on the club, but I know that from us reaching out to persons we know will likely be reaching out to young professionals. We had Keisha speak just now. She said she had a 20-year-old daughter. So the club is open to young professionals, persons who are young at heart, whether you're in Manchester or outside of Manchester, it doesn't matter, especially if we are meeting predominantly online via Zoom and occasionally in person. So I do want to encourage you to bring someone to our next meeting. Invite someone from your workplace, from your friend circle to join our next meeting and to be a part of the mission and vision of what Young Professionals Manchester is all about. It's the first club in Manchester. This was our first meeting, and persons who are joining will be part of founding the club. So, yes, this now takes us to our questions and answers segment. So, I'm just going to stop sharing for a moment and I'm going to open the floor. Do we have any questions? Anyone with any curiosities? Are there any points that haven't been touched on that you'd love for us to clarify, I am open for us to have some discussion about this.
All
Um,
right. Oh,
Yes, go ahead, Richardo.
oh, someone was about to say something. They can go ahead first.
Okay, I didn't catch.
all right. I was just going to say, lovely meeting.
Oh, thank you so much.
I I know you said it's the third club in Manchester.
Yes.
Uh, the listing that you have there, from my knowledge of one, I notice I don't see any president, vice president position on the list that you have there.
Yes.
Wouldn't you
So,
need the persons to step to that position
excellent
or to
question.
take that?
Thank you so much for asking. Essentially, I would lead off as the president for this year. And all the other roles for this year will be persons stepping up to the plate and volunteering. As we proceed, we will then have elections and we'll elect a new president, elect a secretary, elect a treasurer. So it will be elections based going forward. But since it's a new club, everyone here is new to the organization. Most persons here have never heard of Kiwanis before the introduction that we've given today. It would be beneficial to have me leading off as president and just guiding us in terms of what the Kiwani standards are. So when we're dealing with children, for example, there is a standard for how many chaperones there should be to each child, things like those. Youth protection guidelines that we need to follow, certain standards with our minutes and reporting or project hours to KI, how we utilize the Kiwanis image, the Kiwanis logo on our flyers, on and when we are promoting our events. So that sort of thing needs to be it it needs to be taught. Everybody needs to learn how it works for Kiwanis so that we are in line with the standards. It helps to maintain the reputation that Kiwanis enjoys for the past 100 years. So that's the vision. Um, and yes, we'll introduce a vice president role when we're having official elections. So that's the plan going forward.
Essentially,
Hopefully
then,
there are no objections.
essentially, then you will be training persons on the different roles and what's the
Yes.
criteria for the different roles.
Yes, 100%. And
Yes.
how it fits in with the standards set by Kiwanis. Kiwanis set what you would call best practices whenever you're going to care homes, whenever you're visiting schools, whenever you're advertising projects or raising funds from the public. There are best practices. So, for example, if we raise funds from the public, let's say £200, and we want to put on a project that might require us buying water for ourselves or something for the club members, the best practice is to separate the funds used for service projects from anything that will be done in an administrative capacity to feed or nourish our Kiwanis members. And that's just so that members of the public can have faith in us as Kiwanians to say, when I give £20, £20 is invested in that soup kitchen, £20 is invested in that blankets, the making of the blankets, that sort of thing. So that yes, the first year will be all about learning the best practices, attending different leadership seminars that are hosted by Kiwanis UK, Kiwanis Europe, and learning what each one of the roles require of us. Yes, I
All right.
think Cynthia was about
Oh, okay.
to
Oh, before
No,
yes.
Paul
I was.
jumps in, um, actually, Richard here.
Yes, tell us your role in Kiwanis, Richard.
All right. So yeah, I'm the quiet scene behind. I'm actually I am the coordinator for the United Kingdom. I represent all the clubs in the United Kingdom. Um, the very good session I having so far, Ramon. I'm definitely
Thank you.
proud of what is happening here, and definitely glad to see everyone on. I actually was going to ask a question about your toy drive, but before
Yes.
I say that, for Miss Jackson, That's a very good question that you raised.
Mhm.
And actually, you have powerful persons here who can answer that question even more, which was going to be I'm going to call maybe on Cynthia, she's still here.
Yes.
And even Mike as our chairman for membership across the United Kingdom have answers to these. Right now, because Ramona is starting the process, there's a whole structure that Kiwanis has. And this is where it comes back to where she was mentioned about leadership development and everything, and everyone can step into a role. There will be a meeting that she will have to have that will have a constitution for the club itself. It will determine how long someone can be a president, if they can be a president for 1 year or 2 years, whether or not the secretary has a role for 3 years. Some clubs might decide that the treasurer needs to continue in a longer period, or maybe you just want a treasurer who is only 1 year and you're re-elected. All of that needs to be written up in a constitution that will be given as you fully embrace being a member of Kiwanis and the club that she's forming here. If you take up that role, then all of that will come into place. And then, excitingly, as mentioned by Cynthia, there will always be a level of training available to you as a Kiwanian. Every year, there will be training at the international level. There will be training at our UK level. There will be training at the club level that will allow you to either decide that what, maybe I want to be the next president. Ramona, yeah, we enjoyed you, Ramona, but now it's my time. It's
Yeah,
Miss
happily,
Jackson's time.
happily. Yes,
That
yes.
is that is what the intention is. The hope is that everyone will desire to want to be more than just a member. Perhaps you will be the next coordinator, United Kingdom. Perhaps you will help us to grow Kiwanis in a way that you become the very next coordinator for the United Kingdom. So there will always be growth. And as I said, if Cynthia is on, I think she could add something about that in terms of development. If she wants to come in at this moment, if she's still there, I
Yeah, I'm
would.
Yes.
still here. I
Go ahead,
couldn't I
Cynthia.
couldn't leave. I just needed to stay here with you. I totally enjoyed the meeting. And
Mhm.
you are right. I like the concept of training and helping them to understand the house in Kiwanis. And there are some things, even though it is about fun, it's about development, etc., there's still some things that are deadline driven and you have to operate within a certain standard. But what I wanted to say is that Miss Jackson sounds as though she has been exposed to Kiwanis before and
Yes.
she understands Kiwanis and its structure. So I'm hoping, Miss Jackson, that I will see you volunteer to hold one of these positions so that you can support Ramona in terms of the training and development that's needed because you can't do it alone. And
Mhm.
oftentimes that's a problem that we have. You take on the responsibility as the president, and then you think that you have to do absolutely everything on your own, and that's
Mhm.
not so. So
Yes.
you will have your structure in terms of your board, but you will also have committee chairpersons who will lead certain types of projects. And collectively, you will be very impactful in the Manchester community. So, Ms. Jackson, I hope to hear that you're going to be a part of the process in terms of developing the club. And Ramona said something that was very correct in terms of as charter members, that's what we refer to you as the first group of people that form the club. You get to determine the future of the club. You get to determine the look and feel of the club. You get to determine what you will be known for. So that's also another beautiful thing about forming a new club. You don't have to come in and fit into the existing. You get to create it for yourself. So well done to you, Ramona.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much, Cynthia. And thank you, Richardo, for chiming in as well. I know we're at 8:33. I will accept a few more questions if there are any more. Stephen,
Yeah. Oh,
Winnie, Indra. Oh, Michael, yes, please go ahead.
sorry, mate. It's just a very cool one. Also,
Yeah.
just a reminder of, and I guess you will let your members know about the constitution as well, which is quite important. So, of
Yes.
who's what the club in good standing, the roles of president-elect, and such like. So I'm sure that will be, sort of rolled out, sort of over the next weeks or so, or at your next meeting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, it's definitely something we'll discuss as a club to determine what sort of standards we'd like to implement um, going forward. So yes, thank you for that contribution, Michael. Any other questions, Joseph, Emily?
If I may jump in again,
Yes, go ahead, Richardo.
one quick question. Yeah, I wanted to touch back on one of your projects. Now you mentioned one that has a quick deadline coming up.
Hmm.
The toy drive. Is there
Yes,
more that you could mention and discuss about that toy drive, and
yes.
probably just get from now a show of hands how many persons are ready to participate in that,
Hmm.
you know,
So,
by a show.
um, yes, like I've mentioned, the toy drive, the suggestion is for the donation to go to the Ashgrove Children's Centre. That's part of Cheshire East. They've put out a call on their pages requesting toys to be donated, whether they be used toys or new toys, geared at children basically about 5 to 10, 12 years old. So that's the age bracket that we're looking at. And if we can have persons who are willing to participate in that toy drive, let's do a quick show of hands. I know persons, um, if you could put a reaction or a thumbs up to say that you would be interested in contributing or assisting with the toy drive, please do. And I'll make a note, so I'll definitely be involved.
Ramona, sorry, can I just ask,
Yes.
so what is it exactly like you're expected to just donate a toy, or is there more than that?
Yes.
Are we like collecting it
Yeah.
collectively as a
We're
group?
we're collecting as a group, and then we'll make a donation. We'll go there and make the donation. Persons who are able to attend can go with me as well.
Right.
So if you've got one toy, or if you can pop into B&M or one of these toy
Yeah.
stores, pick up a few toys, and then we'll set the date for delivery of the donations. We could meet together at a central location and travel there to make the donation. I'll also reach out to them to let them know that we're coming, and we can have it organized and structured when we're doing the actual donation. But the drive itself will culminate on the 12th. We'll check in with each person who's put a thumbs up to say they'd like to participate, and then I'll make arrangements to collect from persons who can't attend physically, and those who can go with me will set a date for the delivery as well. So that's what it's looking like. Shall I add your name, Fatima, to the
Yeah,
list?
sure.
Yes. So we've got Fatima. Could you please put the thumbs up again? I've got Emily noted down and Keisha as well. Let's just check. Yes, thank you, Emily. Any other thumbs up? Okay, so Winnie is willing to participate. Wonderful. And Stephen, thank you so much, Stephen. All right. So this is looking like a good showing. Richardo has put a thumbs up. And yes, Joseph. Wonderful. Joseph, I'll reach out to you. I know you may not be based in Manchester, so we'll decide how to navigate that contribution from you. Let me just open the chat as well and see if anyone else has been popping in the chat. Okay, yes. All right. So that brings us to the end. Uh, that brings us to the end. I have added the link in the chat box for joining the club as a member. I'm also going to project on the screen a QR code that takes you directly to the link. Can I just get a quick confirmation if the QR code is showing?
Yes,
For
it
all?
is.
Okay, wonderful. So this is the QR code. It takes you to the Kiwanis YP UK page. We are birthed out of Kiwanis YP UK to become Kiwanis YP Manchester. So this is the QR code. Please take a quick scan of it, or you can copy the link that I've put in the chat box. You all know me personally. I've reached out to you on a one-on-one basis to join our meeting today. So please do send me a message with any questions that you were a little bit too shy to ask in the meeting today, or if you'd like me to share the link with you in WhatsApp or on LinkedIn, then I'm happy to do that. So,
Sorry, I'm just want to add, except for Keisha, I invited Keisha myself. Keisha has
yes.
no relatives from home.
Thank
My
you so
sister from
much,
another mother.
Yvonne,
So I
for
invited her as
inviting
well.
Keisha. Wonderful. All right. So that essentially brings us to the end, just a few minutes over time. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for being part of something new. We are building something meaningful together. Let's stay connected, please. Drop your email addresses in the chat so that I can add you to our email group. I will also reach out to you to add you to our WhatsApp group.
S- Sorry, me, Roman, one thing.
Yes, go ahead, Richard.
I don't want to be the last. I don't want to be the last word. I want to make sure you're the last word. I just want to say to everybody
Yes.
that what I've seen here was a very good presentation. I know the fellow Kiwanians who are on board on this meeting as well can agree. Well done. I congratulate you on that, and I look forward to great things from the young professionals that will be coming out from Manchester to make their voice be heard in Manchester, to make your voice be heard in the UK, and
Mhm.
soon enough to make your voice be heard internationally in Kiwanis. I look forward to great things from you. Congratulations on doing this and putting this together, Ramona, and we are here to support you 100%
Yes.
going forward. Yeah. So
Yes.
now you can speak. I don't want to have the last word. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Richardo. I see the email addresses coming in the chat. Please do, if you can, send me your email address either publicly or privately, that's fine. And I see some lovely comments as well. Lots of congratulations. Persons enjoying the meeting, which is really, really great. I am excited. I hope you are excited as well to take it one step further with Kiwanis, becoming a member and just participating in all these wonderful, wonderful things that we can do as a club. So time now is 8:41. Its meeting is officially adjourned. I will stay on for a little bit. I'll play a bit of music. I'm just going to copy down a few of the email addresses that have been shared. Anyone who wants to unmute and speak, I'm going to stop the recording as well.